I just realized I didn't use Lonnie's. Whoops.
Whoops. Hey,
His
guys.
is way better. Hi.
Good to be meeting with you fine fellows this evening. Hey, Scooby-Doo.
Hola.
Where are you? Got somewhere to go now.
Stream I can get behind. I don't know if I want you behind me.
Ooh,
you took it there, huh? You guys are taking it there?
Just kidding.
I mean, or does he?
Nobody knows. Hey, Marissa, we've got quite a show for you guys tonight.
Do it.
Do
All
like
right.
Ooh, baby.
Ice cold Dr. Pepper.
Hey, Mary.
You guys can't tell?
What's that?
I got it trimmed.
Oh my God.
I didn't notice, bro.
All the dead stuff.
Not to.
I mean, you're beautiful. You're a beautiful
you
man.
were beautiful just the way you were.
Yeah, you're a beautiful man, but I didn't notice.
Everyone says so.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Beautiful man. Beautiful man friend.
I used the filter though. See the StreamYard, the built-in.
Me too. I'm way better looking. I just use the one to keep people away from me.
Get rid of us. Scooby is correct. He's absolutely correct.
That's what she said I had to do if I wanted to do the flow thing. She's like, just gotta keep it, let it grow. Let it keep growing.
Do the what thing?
Every time I hear flow, it's like I think of the what is that, Tommy Boy? Excuse me, Flo, what's the soup du jour?
Meh. Scooby, stop sucking his ass, dude. He kisses your ass more than I do.
Is that what that sound is? I heard something.
Oh.
So I did like what Adam had, and I like what Lindsay had too. So who's going first?
Adam.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me pull it back up. Well, I'm not gonna read the lady's tweet verbatim, but I do want to reread it real quick.
Here we go. I love it.
Here we go.
Ready for this.
I gotta find it.
She's probably gonna be like, "Oh my God, Adam read my tweet. Oh my God."
Yeah. I don't think this lady knows me. So lady was put on a Twitter a couple days ago that she relapsed, but the way she worded it, and it's probably just me and my geekiness with the meaning of words and how I really stress using the correct words. But she said, so I ended up relapsing last night, back to day one on drugs and alcohol. And the way I read that, it just struck me as odd is that, so I ended up, it's kind of saying like, well, I always knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time before the shit hit the fan and I decided to use. Now, let me preface that by saying that yes, there is decision in relapse, but two, I also completely understand the overwhelming urge and compulsion to use. So I'm not saying that there's, that it's just saying no is the answer to that compulsion. What I'm saying is the mindset that I'm interpreting just based off a tweet, but I think it brings up a good topic. The mindset that I'm seeing is that, well, I was bound to relapse anyway, so it ended up happening. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So,
what's your commentary on it, though?
Well, it struck me as odd. So it got me really thinking, how much choice do we have? Maybe that's the wrong question. I was going to say, how much choice do we have in a relapse? But then it really kind of went from there into maybe it's not so much that she chose at that moment. Maybe the choice was made when she first stopped drinking because she had already decided she wasn't done drinking.
Sure.
True.
Just, again, random stuff.
No, it's not random.
So
I set the table when I first started. I set the table, and every time I heard like, well, I relapsed, I had a slip. I hung on to the word slip more than I hung on to relapse, and
yep.
I mean, those are things I was looking for. I was looking for outs. So when you're like, oh, and one thing that really a lot of people from certain group get really ornery about is when you say relapse is a part of recovery. There are people that do not like that because it's like,
True.
oh, it's opening the door for whatever. But I mean, do we really know a lot of people that were as bad alcoholics or drug addicts as we were that quit it on the first shot?
No, some not.
No, I don't think it has to be, but I think in more cases it is than it's not. I mean, I don't know, I guess I can't think of many people, nobody off the top of my head that, well, did you, Adam, did you decide to quit and not relapse?
Well, that's kind of where I got into the get thinking was I could probably identify now, looking back at it, those first 2 or 3 rehabs that I went to, I had no intention of lifelong sobriety. I don't think I did. I definitely wanted to fix my life at that point, but I don't think I was able to comprehend a life without alcohol.
Well, you're one then. You're one person. I
I didn't want
know.
to bring it out in front of everything and just start badgering her with those questions. So.
No, yeah, and I get what you're saying, Dawn, about when I ask her. It's not her at all. It's the subject matter. It's the wording used that we're talking about, like in general. That was just an example of
just
setting the table for that. Yeah,
just triggered the thoughts.
Whatever she meant is what she meant, and that's on her. We just wish her that. Well, I can't speak for other people, but I know. Yeah, I can. We wish her the best, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
We're not picking on her. It's just the words. The words that we use are important, is what Adam is trying to say.
The thing is that it happens very often, and I think that it would just reminded you probably of seeing that, because this is something that we've talked about multiple times of the wording, especially when someone relapses, right? So we've talked about this in a number of ways. I think it's just it reminds us whenever we do see it on Twitter, X, and it's something that needs to be talked about. So
I've seen a lot of.
I think a lot of people that are new to sobriety don't, as I didn't think about it back then, like consciously. I didn't consciously think, I'm going to be sober for the rest of my life. Sure, I said I was going to be, but did I mean it? Did I intend to? No, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in meetings and I've heard people come into the office that are just like, well, I relapsed. I know it's a part of recovery. I'm just frustrated. And, it's like, okay, you just, without knowing these people deeply, you don't really know if that's really what it is, or it's just like, oh yeah, relapse is part of recovery. Well, at least I'm only doing, 4 nights a week instead of 7.
Yeah. There's definitely the people that like to abuse that little phrase. So
I've got to remind Lindsay that she's commenting for my Facebook, my YouTube.
I seen it. Tag team by the ladies. That's what happens, boy. I forgot what I was gonna say. God. Okay, so I don't know if you said this. You might have just said it, but when I hear that, I do think probably the same thing Adam thought that it triggered in him, because I used to say that. I'd say, oh my gosh. Well, it ended up collapsing. I said it. Right, I did. Like, I thought that it was destined, but I think a lot of it had to do with me being on the fence still, maybe.
Yeah.
How you said, to where the last time I picked up and I put it back down again, I said to myself, this is it. There is no try. It's just it. It's it. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but there was no reservations. It was like, I'm totally letting go. I'm not, it's like I was still holding on to stuff before. And I've talked about reservations before, you guys. And that's just kind of what pops in my head when I see that, to where it's like, and the words are powerful that you say, right? So saying to myself, oh, well, we ended up relapsing. What was this? Were we going to, what was going on? Were we going to do this the whole time?
Yeah. I mean, that was my first thought. So.
Yeah. I don't think it's intentional. I just think that we hear it a lot and like around the rooms and stuff.
But so I don't think it's intentional, but I think what we say, what we write definitely gives us a clue into what the person's kind of subconscious thoughts are.
Yeah.
So, to me, it was just like a bam, there's an opening. And, you know, the way I look at sobriety and recovery, sobriety, especially not so much recovery, but in trying to fix the problems, to me, that was like a wide open, invitation to jump in and figure out what those limiting beliefs are.
So, I mean, we're basing this out obviously on an abstinence only program.
Well, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I guess, I can't remember what the rest of the context of this particular comment was, but if you're basing it off a abstinence only program, then okay, then you're opening the door. But
yeah,
the more and more I get into this and the more and more people I talk to, there's a lot more people out there not working an abstinence only program. That's not their plan. You know what I mean? And with the Thrive Recovery and other options out there, to dwindle down slowly as opposed to cut off cold turkey.
Yep.
I guess it depends on the context of the recovery, right?
Right. And then, there's a couple of programs out there for, you ever heard of semi-sober? I'm semi-sober. Like, the way I read it is, it's like I only, I'll drink occasionally. I just don't drink all the time anymore. To me, that's for people who are making a lifestyle change to away from alcohol and don't necessarily have the addiction part of it. But got me thinking. Lindsay said something like, "Do you remember your last drink? Do you remember the actual event, the last drink you ever had?" I don't remember mine. I can probably tell you what it probably was, but I don't remember when or where or how much.
Yeah, I can remember the last several.
Okay.
Because it was in a journey that, it started in January 2022, and there was 60 days of sobriety, and then a month of drinking, and then there was 100 and some odd days of sobriety, 180 maybe, and then there was one weekend going home. I could list the last several off.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking about that while Lindsay was talking. I was like, I don't even remember what it was, when it was, what the specifics were.
So Don says, I'm not understanding. Is there some sort of language used by addicts that lets y'all know they plan the relapse? I'm not going to speak for Adam. I think that we all use language at times for many things, not just an addiction, where we are kind of giving ourselves out or kind of maybe letting things slip or speaking things into existence.
It might be a lot of self-doubt too, and a lot of like with me, I think it was because I had low self-esteem and I didn't truly believe that I could do it. So I don't know that it was intentional or that it's certain language. I think the point of it is try to point out that using empowering language for ourselves usually is better for our subconscious, and right? That's what I think anyways.
Yeah. I mean, to answer Don's question, I don't think there's any specific words to look at. To me, this is more of a kind of a psychology thing. Is you said this word in this context, that gives me a clue based off of what I know about you that there probably was some questioning around your intent to stay sober. Just I ended up relapsing, to me says, it was always going to happen. It was just a matter of time of when. He was like, oh, yeah, I ended up tripping down those stairs after all. I should have moved all those boxes, So it's kind of like an inevitable thing. So again, not making a big deal out of her specifically. It was just the phrase struck me, and I said it to y'all. And
he loves the language. He loves the words. That's why.
Words have meanings, baby.
You love the words, and you are correct.
I mean, they are the context. They're the building blocks for the containers that we live within. So if you're constantly telling yourself, I am X, then you are going to be X. I am is a state of being. So if your state of being is this negative thing, then you're telling your subconscious you're this negative thing. So.
Keep going. I love when you explain this because it's so important.
Well, conversely, if you say I am, well, Scott's been talking about manifesting a little bit. It's like if I am receiving a good night's sleep. I am lovingly grateful for a good night's sleep. That am is the state of being. It's like I am, I be, or be is this. So your subconscious hears everything around you. What you say, what other people say, whether or not you're paying attention to it, your subconscious is taking in all of this information all the time. All it is data. And so the best thing you can do when you're speaking about yourself, because your thoughts are influenced by your subconscious, is to reinforce to your subconscious the positive things or the things that you want to reinforce. You don't want to reinforce the negative things or the things that you're trying to get away from. And so the other thing is your subconscious doesn't understand, not or no. It doesn't understand negation in the terms of a sentence. Yeah. So it only understands context. So it's like, I am not going to eat that chocolate bar. All it knows is chocolate bar. So this is a whole, we could do hours and hours on this, but that's why I geeked out on the phrase, I ended up relapsing. So I was like, there's something else there that she's not willing to admit yet.
Sure.
Well, what's important is that you're willing to reflect upon a relapse. And it doesn't matter because we can just beat ourselves up and be like, well, how could I do that? Well, let's look at why it happened and then dissect it. And I think you call it relapse autopsy. I really like that.
Yeah.
But I just think that every slip, relapse, recurrence, what language you'd like to use, it's important to use that. You must. I hate to say must, but
yeah. If you're not using that relapse to learn and figure out where inside you're still stuck, then you just chose to drink. If the way I see addiction and the way I see alcoholism is we have this need for comfort. Alcohol provides us a lot of comfort. It hijacks our dopamine system with a lot of cheap dopamine. So if I get over all of that and all of a sudden I find myself drinking again, it's not because the dopamine, because I've got a little bit of sobriety time. So that's all settled back down. It's because there was something inside of me that was so hurting that it needed comfort. It needed comfort immediately. And the brain and the subconscious went, what used to work really well? That's the first thing you went for. That's the first thing it gives you an option for. That's the first thing you go to. And so when you do relapse, you've got to, and I agree with Lindsay, you have to take that relapse and start backtracking through the situation that you relapsed in, and look at all the leading events to that, find out where those thoughts started going off the rails, figure out what beliefs were leading to those thoughts. Because if you don't ever get to the underlying beliefs that are causing the thoughts, you're never going to prevent those feelings of needing the comfort and the action of drinking.
Absolutely.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. I think that was well summed up. Check this out.
Oh, wait, go ahead.
Nope.
Perfect. Ooh, that's a great question.
Gene asks, how should one love and support an alcoholic through their addiction before sobriety?
This is one. Do you want me to answer it?
Yeah.
I'll give you my opinion. This is one of the hardest questions to answer for probably a lot of us. And it's kind of sad that it's hard to answer, honestly, because how do I say this? We know that there's only so much someone else can do. No one can make me get high. Nobody can get me sober. However, there are ways, like you're asking, that you can support an alcoholic through their addiction. It matters on the type of relationship, um, without me knowing more details specifically, which you don't need to say any of that. But I think really what it used to be for a lot of people, including myself, is tough love is going to help them the most because it needs to be a no bullshit type of way. And I don't believe that anymore. I've seen that be more harmful, I guess I could say, because there's a way to be loving and compassionate while still setting boundaries with the person. And I think the boundaries are super important. I think when, if it's almost like, so if I were to say to a client, it's the same thing. If I were to say, you relapsed again, like you're never going to get it, or just like really harsh words, right? Like a family member, because they're emotional, it's hard to be like, I wouldn't be able to help my own family member. I'd have to have someone without emotion come in and help them because it's too close. And I can't act on that because it's like illogical, right? Does that make sense? Am I explaining it properly? Because the emotions are involved. And even though I know that I can't get anybody sober and I can't get anybody high, there's still that thought in there. And especially if it's someone close to me, that's like, maybe they're getting high because of me. Maybe I could have done this to help them. And I've had a lot of clients pass away. I've had, I didn't mean to laugh at that. Jesus. Sorry. I was looking at the chat. I've had a lot of people, like clients and friends pass away. And it's like, I have become, I don't want to say callous to it, but just very, expectant of it. And that's terrible. And so I think the best thing to do is love, maybe from a distance sometime, and keep yourself safe, and also place boundaries on them that, if you cross this boundary with me, I cannot do this. And I'm not one that supports enabling. And there's a difference, which we all know that, right? Enabling, I would not give them money. And I know it's hard. But my personal story is that when my parents both said no more to me, I was able to stop. I don't know how to describe it. It was like finally like the money train's over, this is like, you got to grow up, Lindsay, this is it. And so I don't even know how to explain how serious that was for me. So I hope that I'm not talking in circles and that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, I can only speak from how my ex-wife handled it and my parents handled it. My ex-wife didn't really do anything, boundaries. She just said, well, you went to rehab. What's the problem? Why are you still drinking? Stuff like that. So when I finally got divorced and moved in with my parents, I don't think they understood the level of, I guess, barriers and boundaries that needed to be in place. So the deal basically was, you can live here and you can have your vehicle, but you cannot have any money. Give me all of your debit cards and credit cards. I'm going to search your room whenever I feel like it. I mean, they went so far as to take away my daughter's piggy bank and put it in their room, so I couldn't go and get cash and change out of it. I had a breathalyzer that I was blowing in all the time whenever they asked for it, and at certain times of day. And that really, I mean, those two main things of not having funds at all, like I got to put gas in the truck. All right, well, here's your debit card. Bring me the receipt back, and then open up your bank account app when you get back, so I can see exactly what you spent on the receipt versus, did you get cash back? Did you stop and at the whatever? So it was locked down for quite a while. And to me, that is a good example of tough love with boundaries, because they weren't going to say, all right, just go figure out what you're going to do. They weren't willing to do that. And I didn't want to do that. So it was, that was the solution we came up with. I think it's going to be different for everybody, and obviously it's different if it's your kid, if it's your parents, if it's a brother, sister, just a good friend. So depends on your relationship with them, and really I think it depends on how involved you want to get, because you can micromanage the shit out of somebody if they're willing to let you, but if they're not willing to let you, then find a way. So it's not up to you, really. It's up to them if they really want to get clean and get sober. So
yeah, I think if you watch the movie Beautiful Boy, that's a pretty good one. Watch that with Steve Carell. That's kind of like it shows the struggles of going through having a son, a child. It was a son in this case, but having a child in addiction, and then he gets to the point where, like Lindsay said, okay, you're done, you're cut off. I would answer that question: how do you love them? You love them the same way you always have, and then how do you support them with healthy boundaries?
Yep, that's a great way to put it, because if you remember that love has no agenda.
Yeah. And it's love. The best thing and the worst thing that happened was, to wake up the one morning and Miley had all my stuff kind of packed up and put on the kitchen table.
Yeah.
And it was time to go. But I always knew she'd still talk to me and she loved me, but she couldn't do that to herself and her kid, and she couldn't go through the worry of me being out driving around doing stupid shit, not knowing where I'm at. So she loved me enough to let me go, and she loved herself enough to not put herself through that crap anymore. And that was a really solid move on her part. But she never stopped loving me. She had to kind of put up some walls to protect herself, but it was a healthy boundary. But yeah, dude, I went through the breathalyzers and then I claimed they were broken. I remember one time I blew into it and I blew hot, and then her son came up and used it right after me, and he blew hot, probably just because it was a cheap breathalyzer. And I was like, see, this thing's crap. This thing is crap. So that's how I'd answer that one.
Yeah.
I muted myself again. That's important. Like, willing for her to do that, for her being willing to to potentially save your life and put her feelings and emotions, of course she's going to miss you, but for your girlfriend to do that and say, hey, this is for you to get better and you got to do this, that was the best thing to do. I have strong boundaries even with clients, more stronger with friends. I'm not friends with anybody that is active in addiction or drinking unless they're not an alcoholic or addict, if that makes sense. Some people are just normal drinkers, social drinkers. And so I don't have any expectations, but anybody that's drinking in an alcoholic manner around me, I can't, and I do not talk to anybody under the influence. It's kind of this thing that some people do, but it's hard for them it's a waste of time to talk when they're in it.
Yep.
So, and I won't talk to them unless they already talk about solutions. So when they're crying about stuff, I'll give them like a couple minutes, but then it's like, all right, what are we going to do? Let's solve this,
Yep. Completely agree. Great question.
And saying, what's your bottom? Yeah. That baffles a lot of people, unfortunately, until it happens, right?
Yeah, there's no way to answer that.
Sad.
That's a good question to ask them, but I don't think you know until you know. Look at this one.
Oh.
You want me to answer first?
Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
It can be.
Yeah, it can be, for sure. It depends. People are people.
What if we just change that to mentor?
That's what I like. I have a couple mentors.
Yeah, that's my answer on that one. So I don't drag us down to a road we don't want to travel tonight.
Yeah, we'll keep it. We'll keep it.
Don't do it.
Really.
Fucking Scooby.
Yeah, Sinclair method. That's what we're talking about. If they're using that, then that's their pathway, and that's kind of what I brought up earlier when we were talking about the abstinence thing. There are people who drank kind of like I did. I had an ex-family member. I won't say any more detail than that. But this dude was drinking his entire paycheck. He had 2 kids at home. He was drinking his entire paycheck away. His wife would lock himself or herself in the bathroom because he'd come home belligerent drunk and hide his keys and all these things. And he did this for years. And now he drinks like a normal person. He just had enough. So I'm never going to get in this argument about, well, he wasn't a real alcoholic. I'm never going to go down that road again because that's ridiculous. He was drinking in excess and it was ruining his life and his family's life. And spending a bunch of money, and he figured out a way. He found something else to dive into, and you know, he loved his family, and he made changes. He devoted himself to work, and learned how to do it. So,
I've got a friend. He was over here a couple weekends ago. Actually, I met him at rehab, and he has been like on and off sober. So, I mean, he credited rehab with saving his life because the way he was drinking was very much the way I drink, and I think kind of the way you drink as well, Scott. But rehab taught him a lot of things about what was happening, and he stayed sober for a couple of years, and then he decided that he was going to try managed drinking. And he will be the first to tell you, he goes, I manage it most of the time. There are times when it gets out of control, but I'm okay with that right now. So, man, if you're okay with it, then, you know, there's nothing there, you know, don't worry about it. But at the back of his mind, he's always asking me every now and then. He'll just text me. He's like, hey, man, so how's the not drinking going? Because he'll be the first to tell me. He's like, you know, I'm jealous of what you're able to do and being sober like you are. I was like, well, yeah, you can do it too. You just haven't decided to yet. You know, you haven't let go of the alcohol. So,
yeah.
But again, you know, going from a fifth a day or, you know, 12 pack and a couple shots every single day to, you know, hey, on Friday I might drink a 6-pack of Trulies.
Yeah.
Okay. I know he drinks Trulies. It's the funniest damn thing. He's like this hardcore Boston guy, like Boston accent.
Yeah.
So he was over here. We're watching the Bruins in the hockey playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, and he's like cracking up a Trulies.
Oh my God. I never had that. I would never waste my time. It's not about drinking. It's about getting drunk.
Right.
No way.
Yeah. And then in case somebody else had a question that's not reading the comments, Lindsay and I both did an interview with Katie from Thrive Recovery. I think I did a couple actually. So check out Katie from Thrive Recovery if you're on X. If you're on YouTube, check out my channel or Lindsay's channel. Look for Katie from Thrive Recovery. She explains the Sinclair method very well.
Yeah. I wish I'd known about it, you know, 8 years ago.
Me too. It might have stopped a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? Like I know that sounds like, oh, so you could keep drinking? Well, yeah, because I wasn't ready to stop yet. But if I would have, like, I had naltrexone, but I was told to take it a completely different way. It was still an abstinence taking pill, and who knows? I don't know.
The sober heathen, right?
Yeah, I'm the sober heathen. Yep. If they're asking about me,
it'll come up if you search for it. No, and abuse is different. And abuse is when you drink alcohol. When you take it every day, and if you take the med and drink on it, you're supposed to get sick. I've had clients tell me that they do not get sick, so I don't know how that is. It seems interesting.
The dosage isn't high enough.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know those meds, but Antabuse has been around a long time, and really I've had a couple people say it's effective, but really, like, it's easy to not take the pill. And what are we going to do? We're going to not take the pill.
So from experience, it is easy to not take the pill, but if you have somebody watch and throw it in your mouth, it dissolves very quickly. And so it's really hard to gum it and keep it there for any amount of time. Also, I took it, and Adam is right. I'm a bigger dude, so 250 wasn't enough. I'd break out in like hives, and my eyes would become very bloodshot, and my heart would race for about an hour. And once I got through that, smooth sailing.
When you're drinking?
Yeah, 250s. Yep.
You dog.
Yep.
The risk.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. What you got to remember that though is that all that is basically negative reinforcement. So you're not solving any problems. You're not going and fixing the thing that is making you seek the coping mechanism. That's why antabuse doesn't work for long-term change, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There might be a handful of people. Just every method out there has a handful of people that it will work great for. And I think we beat this horse all the time, but if you're looking for fixing the reason why you are drinking to such excess, that reason, that need to comfort, antabuse does not do that. Naltrexone doesn't do that. Naltrexone, again, it's the same type of behavior modification. The fact that it's working on the dopamine system and is trying to get you to gradually decrease your dependence on it via neurochemistry. It's not solving the issue of why you are seeking comfort, which is part of the reason why using Sinclair, you have to have some legitimate counseling go along with that if sobriety is what you're seeking. If you're just seeking to cut down on your alcohol consumption, just take the pill. But if you're really looking to figure out why am I doing this and really solve that, you've got to do the extra internal work.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Constant Six is talking about antabuse or not, but even if he's not, those negative consequences aren't stopping a lot of people from doing it. When you want that fix and you're feeling a bad way, you'll roll the dice. I did with the 250s. I would take it for a few days and then stop, and it's still in your system, so it can still make you break out like it did with me. And I would want it or need it so bad that I would drink anyway and just see what the hell had happened. Yep. But that's what Adam's saying. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get it. Yeah. I would shoot dope on Suboxone, taking Suboxone in that morning. And you just have to take more dope. You have to shoot more dope. And because it blocks the effects. But it's like, that's so risky and people die that way, But when I wanted something, I was going to get it.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, the doctor wouldn't prescribe me what's that shot?
What?
Fuck, what is the shot form?
Shot?
Vivitrol.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
You become Vivitrol.
Yeah, they wouldn't, he wasn't going to give me the shot because he said I drank too much and because it would deaden the reaction. He thought I would most certainly kill myself.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's scary as shit.
All right, so we each had a topic. Lindsay, your turn.
Good.
Well, I don't know if I should save this topic or not now. I don't know. Because I'm getting tired. But well, this is a lot of it takes a lot out of me when I get going, So can we come back to me? Can we
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna let me?
All right, so yeah, well, let's play Never Ever Have I Ever.
I will lose.
I'm kidding. But this is what happens when you redirect it back to us before we're ready. Childish things will happen.
All right, do you want me to do it? Hit them with the heat?
Yeah, you want to bring it up? Bring up the top. Bring it up.
I've been thinking, and
Dum dum dum.
I've been thinking, and I know it's a dangerous thing to go up there alone. It's no. What do they say? Don't go.
I wish I had a sound effect board.
I don't know, but that's what they say.
I got those. Do you remember the movie Hook?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Shmi, remember Captain Hook and his sidekick Shmi? Said, I've had an epiphany. It's like lightning has just struck my brain. And Hook goes, that must have hurt. Anyway, Adeline says that now, and I'm like, it's a running joke now.
I like it.
See, I wanted the soundboard because when Lindsay said, I've been thinking, I wanted to play like Homer Simpson screaming.
Ah!
You know how he screams?
Yeah.
No, and don't do that, Scooby. We're not going to talk about it on the stream because you're going to get me fucked up. I shouldn't say fuck either. Anyways, I wanted to talk about, I had a whole stream that I was going to do about it. So I might wait till tomorrow.
Well, save it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else then.
Hold on.
I'm looking at my notes.
Let's find a comment then.
Okay. Yeah, because once I start this, it's going to take a long time.
So I'll give you, while Scott's looking, I'll give you a great example of perception and how it influences your reality. All right. So it's still kind of chilly to be getting in the pool here in North Georgia. So, I mean, it's definitely doable. But back in March, it was freaking cold. All right. My daughter loves to swim. So as soon as, it seems reasonably sunny, she says it's summertime, it's time to get in the pool. Water is cold. Kids are masters of changing their perception so that reality becomes what they want. So this kid is sitting there telling herself, the water's fine. The water's not cold. This water's great. She has decided to perceive the water as not cold, and she gets in it all the time. Now, if any one of us go jump in that water, you're going to be climbing out really, really fast. So it's just a practical example of how you, whether you want to call it fooling yourself, changing your mind, but it's you're changing your perception of what is in front of you so that your life is better. Anyway.
I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, kids are the masters at this. Until we start getting older and wiser, well, maybe not wiser, but accumulate more knowledge about the world and ourselves, that it's harder and harder to convince ourselves that, to flip that thought.
Yeah.
That's why
we're not going to do it because we know it's cold.
Yeah.
They just say, well, it's not cold enough, so let's go.
Yeah, their want to swim negates the actual cold. And that's why kids are beautiful, and we need to keep them protected and safe at all costs.
All right, let's go, Lindsay.
I might do a stream after this because it's a lot, and it's gonna be like intense, and I don't want to like.
Well, we're coming up to the 45-minute mark, so I guess we can. That's a pretty good stream. You're good, man. Adam's old. He needs to go to bed anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, you were kind of old.
I got like a gray hair.
That's me. That's me projecting.
I have a ton of gray hair though. Like
you do, dude. Yeah.
I know, like so young looking with my Botox.
I just think it's funny that you're like, I'm getting tired. Now you're going, I think I might do a stream after this.
No, I'm not tired. I'm just like sitting. I don't know.
Well, let's get you on your way then. So any final thoughts from either of you or anybody listening before we wrap her up at the 45-minute mark?
I love you guys, and I miss you.
Hey, can I do that now since...
Yeah, probably. Maybe it's not. It's just
not. It's just you, dude.
What can I say? That's pretty crazy. I've been the only person to be able to do it.
That's fucked up. I am pissed off, and I want my money back.
All right. I love you guys. I don't want to bring you into this nonsense. I'm gonna.
Oh. Now we could go have a fun one with that.
What does that mean? I don't get it. I don't know what that means. I am like, so, okay, I'm going to stop. I don't know that stuff. Is it funny?
That just
What did you say?
I don't get it.
I'll have to do my own personal one and just go down that rabbit hole.
Okay, you tell me later.
okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks, Adam and Lindsay. Make sure to find these fine folks on X or YouTube, wherever you listen to fun things. And hey, Adam Heathen.
Sometimes I am, yes.
Hey. Hey, Adam /Heathen. Hi.
Where's the thing that does the fireworks?
I don't know. Just keep flailing your arms around like you're freaking out.
I don't know.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, we tried.
Okay.
All right.
Come to my live stream. I think I'm about to do one. I'm going to put my little monkey in the bed. And then I'll be back.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Deuce.